Psychokinetic energy light conditions. Psychokinetic energy light systems, high-rise and position locations. We're coming into the hydrogliders right now. Let's kind of think of it as it's a spider web connection line position. It's allocated position through a streamlined center. It opens up attractions to the surfacing positions of the moon, and it tracks its position of time location, which puts everybody into catapulting line connections of 0.1111.01. In that communication is all a true understanding that humanity is in a time location. So we come into higher levels, acceleration, mocking line centers, in position shapes, position locations, energy light connections, interference position locations. But the hydroglider is going to change all levels of space and time. It's amazing how you come in. It's kind of like a water spider. Basically goes through the stream and the center line its position. So it's pretty powerful how we come into nanotechnology and how it transfers positions. It's all like connections to a stream position. So think of the actual moon surfacing on a higher level position on all those platforms of 70,000. It's in track line connections. So it's all about understanding the energy lights and everything through its shield line connections, because the sun and the solar generation light system is allocated to T reception time. So we have the shields up in the solar sun position, and now we're going into the moon, tracks its connections to its barometer. The second level conditions of Vega is in higher position line centers. So think of the actual hydroglider going to each planet line system simultaneously, extremely so fast, make your head spin 20,000 times per second. That's how fast the glider goes. So we go into so many levels of activation cores, and it's in its relation line system. It comes into the brain laps and position locations, and it changes all the levels of the interference line connection. It's incredible how we come into these high position line centers. Every time I get up in the morning, I'm in a different dimensional time of space. It's amazing how I travel extremely fast, simultaneously in one graph line center. Now I got that one position location, right? Its energy and lights to its line system. It's allocating positions of time location, right? So it surfaces on so many levels of activation cores, position line conditions, higher energy light systems, block out everything through interference. Got to put a higher energy fields around me to location. So like I said, there's always construction every single day. I have to get used to all these things. You know, I can't change the grounds or anything line system, but you know, there's a lot of landscaping within this place. So it's high security, which is really good too. So anyway, questions or comments, please let me know if you want to go into other conditions. I will be going on TikTok after the video, but it's important you really understand what's going on with your programs, your dispositions, your line signals, your off cycles, connections to your body frames, your position line conditions, shapes and all position locations. Track its line center to understand everything through dimensional time position. So when I surface on so many levels, what happens is it comes into frame more and more. And then when you wake up, you actually see more and more. And the thing is, you don't have to be asleep. You could be awake and you could see the frame, and then you can see the other side. You can actually see the perception of what's going on through its imagery. It's amazing how we come across these things. It's very powerful how we see yourself on the other side dimension of space. It's incredible powerful force that high rises positions of time location. So, but that's what's going to happen right now with the hydroglider. It's very powerful. I did a TikTok video for everybody to understand these things. Everything I give you is chronological order. Truly understand why it's in this position, and why it's affecting everything through space-time positions. Everybody's on a clocking connections. It's all about getting that one computer line center into 12 tractions of time. 7 within the body, 5 within the atmosphere. Those are 12 channel position line centers. We all have to connect through that vibration line connections. It interlines position location centers to its division of time location. So, anybody have any questions or comments like that, you can go through my healing or you can go through my TikTok. It's important you guys really understand these things, because everything is on time capacitor, position line connections to the sun, the interference position, Truly understand what the sun is to you. It's everything to its position. Everybody comes into its alignment, but they see the sun in different ways and forms because you're at a different DNA. And that's why space and time is fascinating, because it changes shapes, positions of time. Okay, so when we come into the atmosphere positions, we understand how to glide, right, through the atmospheres of shapes. Use your navigation signals, your navigation signs, you use your chronological line connections. Chrono line connection is all about understanding line sequencing to one graph line systems before you do the navigation. And that's where you come into the string theory. String theory is everything through tone. Tone has dimensional time positions. So think that you have all planets in position line connections. Okay, and you got a glider in the center, right? So what it does is it streams all levels, right? And what it does is it brings up through a plasma interference. So it's like a web, right? And at the bottom is a cusp. So it just goes, right? So it brings all those planets up, right? And what it does is it catapults. It goes, right? It's amazing how it calculates and modifies all those systems. Okay, it's like a disc where you go like this, where they do it into the connections, how they do the Olympics, when they're throwing all those levels, spears and all that stuff. So it's pretty powerful stuff how we come into these levels of time to understand how it's all connected, right? Because when you get formations of AI, everything is created through shapes. You just understand positions. Jill, Diane. So I was explaining to Jill yesterday on TikTok, and she wanted to know about what's going on with the test review and evaluations, because they have another test coming up, Galactic Forces. It's all about understanding the definitions of connections with their chakra systems. And she was kind of worried about, do we have to identify each one? I said, no, that's not how it works. Just think that, put yourself in positions. Now, let's say you're working with 12 chakras, so 12-point centers, but you understand how to put all shapes together into one compilation to one frame. And that's how you see everything in that position to one perception. Okay, because everything is on a time capacitor position line connections and vortexes through one point center to another point center. You don't have to use all triangles of 12 times. You can use a triangle, you can use a square, you can catapult anything that connections of a hydrogen line connections, interference position. You can use atomic level connection line interference position location. You can use a different shape. You can use a hexagon, an octagon. You can do a theracon. A theracon is really powerful stuff. When you go up to higher level systems, you truly understand that. But with the test review and evaluations, because today we're going to do a quiz, so it's important you guys understand these things. The test won't be for a while, but I'm just getting you prepared what's going to happen next. So let's say you got 12 positions of time, right? So let's say you got these 12 triangles, okay? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so there's 12, right? So you're not going to identify each one and get to know each one like that. It's all about understanding how to line everything all in one sequence. So it's all about each chakra is a different dimension of time. Let's see the point center. The point center is you, right? So as long as you understand that that doesn't move, right? Turn the alarm off of the car there. Okay, so you're in the center, always in the center. Now, truly understand point centers. So each dimension of time through triangles, you got 3 point centers. Okay. So basically, you have to understand how this is all allocated positions of time location. So that's 3, right? Okay. So there are 12 triangles. All right. So all you have to do is just activate 1, right, to all signal rotations, 12 positions of time location, right? Because that's all you need. You only need the 3, 6, and 9 to travel recognitions of all one time to one graphing line connections to one frame positions of time location. Because each one is in a frame position location. It doesn't have to be in that position location. It could be in energy light conditions to its interference position, but it has to be in its position location. Okay, so it's amazing how it comes into that line conditions. Now, everything the graph line can gets a little bit confusing when you come into constellation belts or anything that graph line center. You come into computer cloud line systems. It's all about understanding how to track the direction and time positions. So you're framing your positions to 3, 6, and 9, right? 1, 2, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And there you go. Done. Okay. Now, when that's done, okay, you all have to understand how you get all 12 positions into one center line connections. So what you have to do, okay, is you start here, okay, and everything is allocated position of the center line system. So everything comes back in location, right, like this, 12 times. Okay, so truly understand that. And before you know it, all 12s come into one center of travel location. Okay, so you're taking this, and all these, once you get them in line sequence, you have to do my telepathy, each one of them, right? Once you get in that frame position, it all comes into one position. Okay, and then you travel through it. So you get 12 divisions of time, and it's all one sequence, right? So it's much easier to put this all together, right? So the quiz is all about understanding how to use the 3, 6, 9 position, how to travel through all 12s through my telepathy, to one line signal, to one line activation, to one location line center position location. So you go from here, right? You add it all up, and then basically it goes 12 times, right? It gets bigger and bigger, 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 right? And once you come into that position, you travel through it, right? So go from there, right? So all those 12s are in this one position, like this, okay? Okay, it gets bigger and bigger. I don't have enough digital pad here, but I'll just give you the basic understanding how to do these things. It's all about understanding how to put all this together, okay, in one position of one activation, so you can see it all at once. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See, it's going over the board now. All right. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so you got 12 positions of time, right? All in one triangle. Okay. So this is what it looked like when you're traveling through all those positions all at once. Okay, I just want to show you how you can travel through that connection. So when you travel through that connections, you basically are creating your own position line connections. So you have to create a graphing grid. And that graphing grid becomes extremely real to the triangle location. You set it up to its position, you walk into it. Okay, you go into that line system, right? And once you go into that, you're in the center position like this. Okay. So when you go into that, you come into your own realm connection of division location. Okay, and then you travel out of its division of time connection. Okay, it's very complicated, but I'm just trying to show you how you can do these things and how you get all 12 levels of your triangles or squares or whatever. I'll show you exactly what you can do afterwards. You don't just have to use triangles. You can use triangles, circles, and squares all in one center. You just have to understand that everything has to be in the compilation line center to its position so you can travel out of the security line defense. So you take all those 12 like this, you put them all together through a map sequence, and then they all come into one. Right? Now you open up the plasma interference and it comes into a portal, right? Right? So basically opens a gateway, right? It opens up a door, right? It opens up a door, right? Opens up a road, opens up a graph, line connections. and then you travel out of its equation position. Okay, so when you come out, you can reach higher levels. It's all about understanding shapes and patterns and how it works with the universe system. Every time you travel, you have to truly understand how to travel through your triangles or anything through your circle, right? So you're always creating positions, and you go up to higher level connections, like this position. Okay, let's go into the black. So let's see here. Coming into this position here. Okay, secure your line of defense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you can go 12 positions of time and travel out of it. So you got 12 here, you center line connections, and you set up your own connection, your dimensional. Okay, you're setting up your own wormholes. I'll show you how to do that. And then you travel through 12 dimensions, right? So what's 12 and 12? What's 12 plus 12? 24, right? So in retrospect, travel and recognition is space and time, okay? So it wouldn't be 24, it'd be 24,000. So you have to understand the conditions to its position location, right? So remember, it's acceleration through Mach positions through E equals mc squared, but you're using velocity and the acceleration at the same time. So when you're going through 12 and 12, okay, it's 24,000 point centers. See how it's catching on a little bit more now? So you take all those point centers on this pyramid system like this. Okay, you start off with 3, 6, and 9, right? See the dots there, 3, 6, and 9? Now, basically, you come into that position, right? Now, you can either come back to that location, right? You can come back now. Because remember, you can go through dimensional time going in and going out, but you can go in and out through dimension. So this is understanding that you're overlapping dimensional time, okay, when it comes into the wormholes. So this is where you go in and out, right? So the XT thousands come in, they know exactly what you're doing, right? They can go in and out, right? They can go in and out now because that's what you set up for them, right? So they read it through mind telepathy. They see it through the shape. They understand the graph line conditions. You have to understand the atmosphere, how it's set up through patterns. That's geometric pattern line conditions. It has its point centers. So it can go from here to here. You can go here from here. You can go here from here. Or it can go into the dimensional 12 divisional times. So it's going to travel to 24,000, okay, connections of dimensions, right? So it's 24,000 years in the future. So that's how we go into connections, overlapping connections to core line centers. Or you can just basically stay in that position, right? And then you come into your triangles, and then you come into your activations, and then you come into your tetrahedrons, okay? So it's amazing how you come into that traction, okay? It's really powerful how we come to higher force line centers. So basically, you're in the center position. This is you, okay? This is me right here, getting ready to travel. Okay? So when I travel, I go through and I fly through the other side. See, the thing is too, is you can use a higher self. It doesn't matter. It depends on where you're traveling. The faster you go, the more you become your computers. If I'm in 24,000, you read a certain line connections and it goes into, the higher self, the avatar, and everything through computers because it reads signals each time. So that's what happens when you go to higher level connections of 24,000 unit line system. It's in dimensional time, but you understand the clocking to its tesseract line conditions. So you're looking at point centers of position here. Okay. Coming into these conditions, all point centers have to be in location, but you can't travel through its recognition of time. So it's amazing how we come across these things, right? How you can actually change the diameters, you can change the barometers, you can change everything through the body graph line system. It's all digital line connections, right? And when you come into that position, you can change the actual triangle location. Okay? So it's really interesting to come across these things. So you come into this position, okay, and then you come into this position, okay, like that through connections, right? So it also comes into higher level division location, dimensional time position. So everything is a connection. See the surface, see the triangle, everything is point line connections, right? But it always comes into triangle line connections. You have to truly understand how to travel through these positions of all time. So each time you create a shape, you're creating a point center because each one needs a location. It's like a graphing of a map. Okay, remember I was talking about superhuman? That's exactly what it is. When you're looking in the atmosphere, you have to understand with the XT1000s, every time they're going through navigations, they're changing shapes, they're changing programs, they're changing all positions to the mind. So it's changing direction each time. Okay, it's traveling through recognition of time position. But it's incredible force that we come to these, right? It's incredible how we see these things, how we travel through shapes of 24,000. So this isn't 24,000 anymore, is it? So I can stay in the center and go to higher level system. Okay. So I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. 5, 6. Okay. 3, 7, 8th within the system, right? So it's all about adding these things at dimensional time positions, right? Clocking it system like 1 plus 1, okay, does not equal 2. It equals 3. But in calculation modifications, we go faster through acceleration. So 1 plus 1, okay, equals 3,000. So we're always ahead of everything through connection of dimensional time position because we're looking at point centers. So we're looking at locations as we're traveling faster and faster. So you can set up a higher grid line system to its allocated position, okay, and you come into a higher level of security line defense to its position location. Okay, see how it's a box channel now? It's a box channel through triangle line connections. Okay, it's got its activation line connections, the 3, 6, and 9 position, okay? But it's interesting how it overlaps. See how it overlaps? But look at the box. It's pretty amazing how we see that overlapping through the triangles. And you see everything through its connections, right? So it's amazing how it's set up, how shapes are set up in position, location. But it has to graph its connections every single time you do your point centers. So every time you do that, you can change time position through all levels of your shapes. So I'm just showing you how this is way above everything through 369. So in position, this is calculated through the sun of this. 3, 6, 9, 1. So I just wanted to show you how powerful it is, okay, to see these things. Okay. So this is on digitals of 5-digit numbers of 3, 5-digit numbers of programs of the moon, and 5-digit numbers of location. Okay. Okay. This is all this. Okay. Truly understand the point centers of each different location through the sun. Okay. Moon and its program and everything through location. That's how you come into 3, 6, and 9. We start out with that, right? But once you go beyond that, these are 5-digit codes. 5-digit codes, 5-digit codes. That's 15, right? Right? 5, 10, 15. Okay. So basically, truly understand what's going on through calculation modifications. Try to understand everything through integration line connections. Remember, each time I change the story frame, I can add another number. Okay. So it's all about the quinsiac line connection. So if I'm traveling to higher position line connections, I can change the shapes anomalies into location, right? So it's amazing how I can go into a higher formation of another shape. So if I'm going to change the shape, let's go into different coloration here. All right, let's go into a higher position. Okay, now this is really fascinating because you're reaching higher levels of dimensional time. Okay, so let's just stay a crosswind cycle down position location, security line defense. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I went from that position from 12 to 6, right? So when it goes to that, it changes its coloration line number, right? So let's go into 2, let's go into 1, and let's go into 4, okay? So it's true to understand how it goes into 6 now in that position, right? Or it can go into 7. Okay, it's amazing how we do these things. Okay, 2. So there's 7 digits on each one. So once you get that information line connections, you're changing everything to the direction of time positions. Okay, so you're just setting up new geometry line connections, dimensional time position. It tracks its connections. So all dimensions are, this is all set up through portal locations. How it goes into higher formation light connections. It's amazing how we do these things in dimensional time. Everything's inside to outside, not outside to in. Okay, so truly understanding how to travel through all these shapes of dimensional time. Okay, so it's incredible when you come across these things, right? I'm just showing you how powerful it is when you start drawing more and more. Each time you change a shape, each time you change dimension, each time you change the plasma interference or web graph line connections to anything through secure line defense, you're changing positions of time through numbers. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. If I add 8, right, it's going to change positions. It's going to change the frame. It's going to change everything through its image. Right? So let's go into that. Let's go into 8. Okay. All right, so we got 8 channel line connections to each one of 3, 6, and 9. That's all started, right? It gets complicated as we go. So in position, it goes into a realm location and the division location. Okay. And again, it goes to another dimensional time position, security line defense. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 dimensional time position locations. So it's amazing how dimensions are set up. But the only thing that doesn't leave is you in the center. You're just changing dimensions of time through your shapes. And that's how it graphs its communication to its digital line system of 8 number sequences of 3, 6, and 9 location. 8, 9, 10. Doesn't how many numbers you put up, it doesn't matter. You're just changing dimensional time through acceleration. Each one is a graphing line system to its position. Okay. So we have a lot of work when we understand digital lines, right? So you can come into this position location. We start off with that, right? So it's all about understanding how to graph everything to that position. But you have to start off with all levels of its connections. You go from here and you just this is all one graph line. So you've seen it in one perception. I haven't moved anything, right? So as soon as you move, you change the frame. You change the image because you're in a different direction. So you change in dimensional time. Change in dimensional time. So it's understanding the sun is changing its numbers. The moon is changing the program. And everything location of you, of travel, of your thought is changing its position to acceleration, of mocking locations faster and faster and faster and faster, right? So it's incredible when we reach these things. All right. Morning. Yeah. So yesterday, some of my guides came through for the first time. Thoth, Mary, Magdalene as a mentor for Twin Flame Journey. Jesus and astral guides, the angels. Yeah, you'll come across that more and more, and everything that comes into form. So you see it like this, and then you see it in form, right? Once you see it in form, you know exactly what to do, because this is what it comes into when you see these things. This is you, and this is everything through your image. So your image is trying to come into form. And once it comes into form, it sends you everything through energy. But I just wanted to show you how you can go into so many levels, starting from this, okay, coming into this, okay, which is extremely high rise because you're looking at so many levels of numbers, right? So it's all about understanding that each dimensional realm is a different number. Okay, I don't get too complicated, but you get one realm, okay, which is in center line connections, which never leaves. Okay, so we got digital number, digital slash number, okay, which is here. Okay, it's the number. Okay, acceleration, number slash acceleration. Okay, slash calculation. So it's NAC. number acceleration calculation in that position, right? Now you come into the equation line conditions. 1 round location goes into 2 round locations, goes into 3 round locations, comes into 4, and so on and so on and so on. All right. So you have to understand the acceleration. Now, if it's going to change its position, remember, you stay in the center. You don't leave. Everything around you leaves. Okay, that's how I'm able to see you, but see everything around me instantly, simultaneously. So we're trying to get in that track line connections. So if I change it to a box level, what has it done? What has it done if I change it to a box? It changes the number, the acceleration, and the calculation, right? So it changes its digital number frame position. So it's allocated position of time location, and this is where it comes into a higher level system of time location. See that? So it's how you can set up shapes and dimensions through wormholes. So your structural and line connection, it comes into its location. Everything has to have its location, right? Now it's in a box, right? And I see from here, so you go through here and you go through here and you come out and go this way, right? So it's fascinating how we see these things, right? So basically, this is what you're seeing through perception. This is you through calculation. You have to understand numbers, acceleration, atmospheric positions of time, location, and calculation, modifications. You come into that more formation, but this is you through perception. All right. Now, once your connection to your higher self sees this through position, it travels through the recognition timers. It's amazing how we see these things, right? I'm just showing it how you can use a computer. Computers are very complicated. That's why I want to show you the higher self. It's better that you see it through a traveling mechanism of time rather than me showing you a computer going through a dimension of a wormhole. It's kind of confusing, right? So I'm not going to do that. But that's you through calculation. You understand the dimension through its numbers, everything through its acceleration, through its calculation, and its digital number frame line conditions. Then you can go into here and out here through its realm, to its box, to its matrix created through you of a wormhole position through its perception. So once you come into that position, you travel through it. Let's go in through different colors so you can actually see me traveling through. Right, so I go through here and I go through here, and then I come out through here and I travel out. And there I am, out of position, in another dimensional time position. I'm out of its condition. Right, from here to here and out. All right. So I'm just showing you what you can do with your shapes and when you're creating dimensions of wormholes. You guys have to come into these levels because you're going to higher levels of time. And it's important you understand that, what you're going through when you're going through patterns, geometric shape pattern locations, interference channel line systems, it's allocated positions of time location. Okay. It's really complicated, right? When you're creating shapes, you're going through dimensional wormholes through the matrix. So you don't want to allow yourself to box in. You want to be able to go out and get out of its condition and travel. Okay. You want to travel and get out. All right. So this is when you go up to higher levels. When you guys go up to more positions of time through your chakras, this is what you're going to come across. You're going to be coming across wormholes of shapes. So you have to understand how to get out of them. So, and as, like I'm saying, the more higher you go, the more you interface with, right? So you have to understand the calculation. It truly understands the positions where you come into, going in and coming out, right? So when you're in that positions, you understand this connections. It goes in and out at the same time, but it's changing shapes. Every time it changes shapes, it changes the connections to the sun, a digital frame, to the programs and everything through its location. Okay, so this is extremely, extremely, extremely high position line conditions it travels. Okay, dimensional time. But that's how everything's set up. But we all have to start off with this position first through calculations. You got to get into the grounds, the power, and the atmospheres of dimensional time. Kind of looks like a windmill, but this is the flux capacitor, right? See, there's a flux capacitor. See it?
See the flux capacitor? See how big it is? So sure, you understand what it is. It's just knowing how to use it, but you all have to start with your connections of your triangle line connections to your position, to its location, to its third eye. Okay? You have to truly understand how to use your third eye. Third eye is everything, people. Okay? Third eye is everything. You have to learn how to travel through it. You have to learn how to go through it all the time, all the time. So when you're traveling out, you can change shapes, positions, and come out a higher position line connection. And then once you come to that, when you travel faster and faster, because you guys are reaching higher levels of chakras, you have to use security line defense. This alarms the position, and what this does is the XT thousands comes out of their realm, and they look at what you're doing, okay, and they scan the positions of what's going on through its allocated position of time location, brings the sonar, and leaves you through positions. So they know exactly what you're doing. So they proceed and go back to their connections, right? So they zip out of its equation, right? So if you don't know what you're doing, we're going to tell you otherwise. But it's all about understanding how. It looks like a train, right? But this is a position of you. This is opening, okay? Now, all your thoughts are traveling through this. All your thoughts are traveling through that. That's all digital numbers, right? So it's all calculated to 3, 6, and 9. Okay? Now, I want to get into these positions because it's important you guys understand these things. Okay, so 3, 6, and 9. All right? Okay, so it's all about understanding when you're traveling through your thoughts, you're traveling out of its position, okay? So when you understand that, the triangle is here now in position. Okay, it's no longer here. So you're in your positions, okay? And then you have to understand your tesseracts, which is the matrix. Got to get out of the matrix before you travel. And once you get into that, you come into your activations of your tetrahedrons. And you're ready to go. Okay? So these are the things you have to truly look at, how powerful it is to go through platforms of 3, 6, and 9 location. The XT thousands comes in, make sure you know what you're doing. If you don't, they help you and guide you, right? So it's all about you don't get confused on what's going on with the connections of the interchanging line systems of the sun, okay, and everything to the moon, and everything to its location. So the location basically is the Earth line center, which is the Earth. Okay? But it's amazing how you put yourself in that position. So every time you travel, the most important thing is understanding your 3, 6, and 9 through your digital line system. So you guys are coming into optical line connections because you're higher forcing your chakras of higher positions into two-digit frames. Okay? So when you come into two-digit frames, okay, let's say we go into 3, 2, we go into 6, 1, and we go into 9, 3. So in calculation modifications, every time you go into 3, it's the activation, right? It's a line signal. So you're always first, but the center position is always you at the physical system. See, it's the intelligence that has to know everything through travel. It's not the physical. The physical stays there. It's everything around the graphing line connection, which is its imagery. And that's why it's so powerful, right? But when you come into a digit frame, you're changing the frame position of time location. All right, so this is where it comes into a downwind sectoring line connection, vector core line system, security line defense, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're going into 5 division line connections. This is what I did with my team when they were into GFLs, right? Okay, this is 2-digit, right? And then you send the core line system to its triangle. See the triangle? Okay, this is 2-digit. The sun, the moon, and everything through its location. Now, let's try to understand how you travel with these vector time positions. Okay, so you all have to understand the 2-digit frames. It all comes from the sun, it all comes from the moon, and it all comes from the location of the earth. But the only thing that stays in the center is you. Try to understand that is you working from inside out, not outside in. You always start off at the center. The center never leaves because it's your physical system. The physical system is this calculation to its base. Okay, it's base. That's base. Okay, base / receiver. Okay, so once you understand that you understand the center never leaves, but it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So what's traveling? What's traveling through that? The mind and creation through its imagination of its higher self, right? So it's the higher self that has to understand all these realms, all division line realm connections. Interchanging positions. These are all electrical lights. This is all division location of vibration. Vibration, 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 vibration. So it can be all the same in one line connections, or it can be all different colors in one line connections, but the center never leaves. That's what's fascinating. Okay. So when you want to change a shape, what's changing the shape? The intelligence, right? Because you're changing the creation, right? So it's all about understanding that the physical system has to understand the communication to the higher self. So if you're going to change frame of time, this is what happens. All right. And you'll come across this too in your dreams. And then you'll come across this in your dreams. And then you'll come across this in your dreams. Okay. Now, if you're going to starship line connections like this, you're coming into higher formation light connections like this. Now, there's a lot of levels of tetrahedrons. Now, the tetrahedron high rises its gliders, catapults its position to its line connections. It interchanges its levels division line system, okay? And it comes out of its equation line connections. Interchanges its position locations to its track line center. Okay, when it opens up its track line center, what happens? It opens up its position to its box line connection, changes its color to its black surface position location. Okay. Once it comes into that position, it high rises its higher light center, and it comes into a higher formation of a box rotation. So it's amazing how we change positions of time. All right. So if you want to add another one, now you're coming in the 2-digit. If you add another one, then you're coming in the 3-digit. So the sun has to stay in your shape positions, geometry, or anything navigation to its line connections. The atmospheres create its own position to its point centers. Point center, point center, point center, point center. All right. So understand this: point center, point center, point center, point center. All right. So this is a calculation of its base. Right. Now, when it's in position, you stay in the center line connections, but the higher self or the avatar travels it to a higher position, location, dimensional time. Higher self does everything through laser direction line connections. It does everything through dimensional time position of clocking. So if it wants to change its positions, it can change its rotation center into circle line connections, coming into its activation center line connections on 2 point centers of its vortex position location. This gets really complicated. Now, if I'm going to set up 2 line connections positions, I can go on the opposite cycle because I understand the frame position location to its activation core system. Okay, so that puts me into 3, 6, and 9 position. Okay, now it's really fascinating. So it'd be 3, 2, 6, 4, 9, 8. Okay, and what do you have? What do you have? A higher formation of an archangel. Okay. Everything is done in sequence of chronological, and it looks like a clock because that's what it is. Once you add a circle, you're adding your altimeters and your proactive system to program and position locations. You're adding your point center line connections, and you're adding your shapes to division line connections. So you can change that positions and you can clock its system. Now remember, when you change the frame positions, you're adding more number connections, all right? So there's a higher formation of a box right here, from here to here, right? So if you do that, you're adding a number, okay? You're adding a number each time you do this. So it's all about understanding the dimensional time positions. Now, if you're going to add your activations, you're coming into a higher formation of travel through your tetrahedrons. It's fascinating when you come across these things, right? So if you add a tetrahedron, you're ready to travel anywhere you want. So the center stays in position. The physical understands integration to assault recognition light connections. So you go boom, right? All in 1 second. All done through the sun, because the sun understands your calculation. Every time you change the graph line system, shapes, positions, it adds a number to the sun, to the moon, and everything through its location of its earth line connection. Okay? So that's really powerful when you see these things, right? How it comes out of its equations. Okay? So each time you change the frame, you're changing clocking dimensions of time. All right? So that's where it gets complicated. Now you have to understand the shapes of what's going on with 3, 2, and 1, and 1, 2, and 3. You have to read it forward and read it backwards. Remember I was telling you about how you go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? And then you have to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to be aware of these things because you're traveling back and forth. Because you're structuring line connections and you're creating something in space and time. So once you fully create that position, you send it to its intelligence. Once it comes into its intelligence, the X2000 comes in position like this, right? Scans the operation to its position. See, there's the X2000. It scans everything that you've done. Okay, and basically it picks it up and takes it to the sun. The sun takes it to the portal, and the portal goes to the moon. So it goes in its archive line connections, and it's stored through its information. So what happens? It goes into its computer operation line connections, right? So it comes back to you and gives you more data information. So that's exactly what happens with the X2000 line connections. You see how powerful it is? It's extremely, extremely powerful. How you go from 1 digit to 2 digits to 3 digits in 3, 6, 9 position. Keep traveling through that direction of timers, right? So, all right, so let's get into your questions. This is all about traveling through the geometric patterns, guys. I know it's a little bit more complicated, but you have to be aware of these things. Morning, Krista. Isabel, how's it going? My line connection seems to show reality through using my actual computer and me seeing the picture and translating nature elements. Mind-blowing at the moment. Yep. Yep, I seem to experience double real-time and momentum clocking. Yeah, so thank you, Isabel, and thank you, Samantha, for sending your drawings. I think it's fantastic how you guys are coming into positions. You get pointers for that too, right? Everything's calculated and modified, and you get confirmed. So everything that you do and you send drawings to me, it's noted. So keep it up. So they're using the mind, yeah. Everything is done through double real-time clocking, yep. So our higher self has to catch up with us. That's it. Instead of the other way around. Very good. Very good. You are now drawing the position of pure creation combined with ground position. This is where we started our existence, and it's protecting our brilliant minds. Well, that's exactly what it is. But see what you can do with your brilliant minds of travel, right? It's an incredible force when you can travel through positions of clocking. Each time you change a frame, you have to put numbers up of the sun and the moon and the location. It has to truly understand your platforms, right? Because look, it's an archangel. See the tip? See the wings? See the connections? See the clocking? I changed that line connection. But see the circle? See the plasma? See the acceleration? See the box? See the activation? See the travels? So Yep. Yep. I work with everything. Yeah. Metatron, Mesokick, high-level systems of high positions. So we all have to start with 3, 6, and 9, right? Why it's important. All right. So we know the 3, 6, and 9, right? We know the 3, 6, and 9. So we know the center is us, but that's exactly what it is. You have to get more of what's going on. So this is you. This is you. All right, let's put that. Okay, this is you through the physical. Okay, that's you through the physical. All right. Now, when it creates its position of thoughts, right away, okay, you're connecting to 3 of the mind, which opens the concept. Okay. Now the 3 connects to the 6. 6 is everything through the moon. Your surfacing position line connections. And then moon, everything comes in diameter, guys. Everything has to be attached. Everything is in sequence chronological order. Everything has to be in its vector line connections, or it's not going to be able to travel the records of time. I'll tell you that. So the moon goes to 9, which is location. Okay. So you come into its pod. See? Spaceship. There's all different ways of making spaceships. Okay. So you come into that modifications. Once you understand your connections to your planet line system of the past positions, you always come into your activations of your starlight system. Okay. You come into your programs and your tesseracts to your tetrahedrons, to its calculation. Okay. All right. So I'm just showing you so many platforms I can set you up for 3, 6, and 9. It's all going to be done through the physical system. The physical system doesn't leave. As long as you understand that. Getting the connections to the mind, body, and soul of the intelligence, not the physical. You live that every day. We know that. But we have to get it into the mind of the magnetic highway of its information. Right? Because everything is calculated and modified to its ground formation line systems. So it's proactive system. Once you come into that, you come into higher positions. Okay. And there you go. Okay. Once the ground understands you through connections, it changes positions of time location. Center lines its lights, goes in its operation, goes in its center line connection like this. It's program system, right? Now, once it gets its operation, it attaches its connections to its atmospheric positions of time into, you guessed it, flux capacitor. Okay. Centerize its line systems to the activation core line center, opens up all channel line connections, magnetic force position location, right? Goes into this center line connections, okay, to its position, like this. Okay. So you are in the center line connections and you're going through dimensional time through its wormhole connection. All right. So once you have that, you come into triangle again. Now, why do you have to come into your triangle again? Why? Because you're accelerating higher, right? So you have to always be in your operation to your tetrahedrons. There's so many ways of creating tetrahedron. The sun has to stand in geometry shape. The moon has to stand the program location, and everything location has to stand its gravity line center. Okay, you have to understand that position location. You come into your activations. All right. So each time you change that, change this number to its line communication, right? Then you got your point centers, right? Point centers to its graph line system of trial line recognition of time position. Okay. And once you get that, you set up all locations into, you guessed it, your tetrahedrons. Okay. Now, once you're in that position, the center line opens up again. Okay. This puts you into a higher location. You take equation, secure line defense. Now, if you pass 12, XT1000 comes in for sure. I mean, they come regardless. They want to make sure you know what you're doing with your shapes and geometry patterns through travel line conditions. So let's go into 13. 13 divisions of time location, all through the connection or tetrahedron line connections. Gravity lines is set up. You got your pod. There it is right there through connection. So you go from one pod to another pod to another pod. So each time you're traveling, you go into higher levels of magnetic highway information line system. The sun is reading you through digital frame positions of 3, 6, and 9, or 3, 2, or 6, 1, or 9, 6. Right? So when you go into higher levels of travels, you can travel out of its equation to its position location. Right? Centers you in a position. That never leaves. Right? So what leaves is the higher self. 13 line connections into the center of security line defense. Travels through the recognition of time position. Now, the next T1000 comes in, sees what you're doing, right there. All right, right there, comes in, right? Scans the operation again, does the sonar, making sure you know what you're doing, right? You know what you're doing? It takes off out of its equation, right? This is an extremely, extremely, extremely powerful connections. Everything in life is about teleportation, telewaving, telecommunication, teleenergy light system. You have to truly understand every time you create a pod, the sun and the moon has to understand you through travel. So this is all done through dimension of time and how you travel through security line defense, right? But there's always going to be an XT1000 come into your equation to make sure you know what you're doing with all your operation center line conditions, so position of time location. All right. So it's powerful, isn't it? So this is how we can perceive perfect moments as experience to our own being, moving us forward in time while being the time traveler, precision worker. Yeah. Right. The same thing with your watch. It's a teleportation device. It's a time machine. Everything is a time machine of you. Right? It's all about understanding how to travel through it. That's all it is. How to travel through this. It's all done through clocking, dimension of clocking, time of clocking, time capacitor, vortex lines, tesseracts, or anything that conditions. You're changing your shapes. You change your shapes. You change your dimensional time through the magnetic highway information system and everything through the grounds. Okay? So we all have to understand that 3, 6, and 9 can be on so many platforms. You can do 27,000 platforms at point centers into one center location. When I say one center location, that's the physical of its understanding, and the spiritual system understands the travel mechanisms of time through its time capacitor. Okay? So once you get that, then you understand everything through travel, and then you can travel through 13 dimensions of time. All done through the center. Let's see here. Leaving no trace in time. When you're time traveling, it's very complicated stuff because you're looking at shapes, right? And it's geometry, position, pattern line connections. So yes, you're not leaving any trace. But what you are leaving, okay, is dust particles. And that just basically goes into position its ground line system. So allocated position of time location, you don't leave any trace. It's like leaving connections like when you're trying to follow up breadcrumbs, and then there's this big, massive galaxy wind that just wishes it away, and you look back and now you're lost. So all those breadcrumbs that you've been following, they're gone. So what are you going to do? You can't go back, right? So you have to find a way to create its anomaly to go back. And you have to do it through the sun, the moon, and its location to its earth. The sun, the moon, and the earth is everything through your connection to geometry patterns and everything through orbs or divisions, vortex, any of that line connections. But you truly, truly understand these positions. You understand everything through this perception, how it comes into form of its connections, right? But I think it's fascinating when you travel through these. I mean, look how powerful that is. It's incredible force, isn't it? How we see these things, right? So the more higher you go, the more digital you have through the audio line connections, right? This is extremely powerful, going through 8. digital frame positions through the connections of 3, 6, and 9. All right. So, do you understand how important it is to understand to travel through 3, 6, and 9 now, and what you can do with it, and how you can change anything through dimensional time position? You all have to understand your connections of your third eye, right? Okay. So this is going to be on the test. Right, so you have to watch it back. Just truly understand how to create these things. So we're coming into a digit form position. All right. We'll get more into that. I don't want to get too complicated, but you really have to understand how to use your teleportation lines. You have to learn how to travel through actions of time positions and put yourself in connections. Now you can go in your graph line centers and start with this, right? All different, right? But it's all in one location, right? But it's in different dimensions of time. So you have to learn how to travel into all of these in one graph of a compilation, okay? So it's all about understanding what the atmosphere is. We've got into that position, right? It's really powerful. We come into perceptions. This is the graph line system of his atmospheres and how it travels through its wormholes and its portals, and how it creates everything through its digital line connections, right? It's all connected through dimensions and colorations and galaxy line centers, right? So when you come into wind factors, you can go into 3 realm connection line interference position locations, how it goes into channel line system. So you go this way, or it comes out this way. So you have to understand, you have to know how to use your serial line fence. If you don't, the XD1000s come in and help you out. They don't want you traveling through time and you have no clue what's going on. And then you start leaving traces. If you start leaving traces, your portals are opened up through other intelligence. Be cautious on that. So this is extremely high-rise positions, right? So you start with those equations, and it's amazing how you can come into more perception. So when you come into the graphing line system and you know what the atmosphere is through space and time positions, you can get the XT1000s to create anything through a shape. Okay? So they do all the work for you, but you have to do it through the higher self. The physical system just there. It's just watching. It's observing. So the connections to the physical is just the observer, right? And the higher self does everything else. So we have to get into the spiritual birth of its intelligence, right? To its higher self, to its avatar, to its computer lines. Now you guys are in your computer lines, right? So you're in a higher formation line connections in that position, like this, the location, right? So when it's out of the equation, you put it back in location, right? As soon as you change position locations, it changes its direction, time position to its location, right? And then you can set up another location to its location line system. Okay, so you keep setting up different shape, position, with time location. All right. So when it comes into that equation, it goes into circle line conditions. You create another realm location to its division line conditions. Okay, and you come into security line defense. Okay. It's amazing how we create these things. So it's incredible force. So the only thing that travels is the higher self through the center line system. It's the only thing that travels. So these are all step rotations. Now I can change that box line connections and create its own connection line conditions. You have to understand what you're doing through dimensional time addition, because it looks like steps, right? It's got a dimensional around connections, right? So everything that we structure in space changes positions. Let's say we go back into the triangle line connections into the activation core line center. Okay, and then we come into the tetrahedron. Every time you go into the tetrahedron, you're changing its position. Now, this is an old drawing, but I'm just showing you how you can set an old drawing and going forward in time, right? So this is all about leaving breadcrumbs and how you can basically go back and do something different, okay? Because it changes direction and location, okay? It's amazing how it was off cycle, right? And then I just put it back on. I put the wind chime position location into its interference. Now I put it back in its location to its activation of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that puts me into 3-channel line connections. 3, 2, 1. 6, 6, 4. 9, 2, 2. Okay. So it's incredible how we do these things and how you travel through recognition of time position. Everything is your connections to your body frames and your body graphs and your electrical graph line system. Electrical graph line system is connected to the heart cycle. The heart cycle is its reactor position location. So let's say this is your heart. Heart's a funny looking organ. It's unique, but it looks like this. Now, and it disappears. That's pretty unbelievable. Go ahead and switch locations. So you got 3 valve line centers. Okay, arsenal level connections. All right. Now understand the electrical light connections. This is interesting how it comes into 2 intelligent line positions. Got wire locations in the center line system. Okay, so it kind of looks like a brain, but it also has a circle line connection, a circle. So every time you open up the mind position, this is where you come into higher formations of a heart line system. Okay, so the heart opens up the electrical lights, right? And what does it look like? Let's just center line the system, allocate positions. You see it? It's intelligence. Everything inside you is intelligence. It's understanding how to travel through it, right? So once it comes out of this equation, it center lines its positions to higher level systems. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 divisions of time location. Heart is in that position location. Now, you come into all levels of north line connections. Okay, come into the north. True positions. So you come into the north, you come into the east, you come into the west, and you come into the south, right? So your heart becomes a clock. A clock? Wow. So we come into that position, we come into, everything is set up in triangle. Even the heart is set up in a triangle. It's just trying to understand what it is inside you and how you can travel through 20 divisions of time location through security line defense, all done through northwest, south, and east. Now, because you don't understand your divisional line connections, you guys are only in your 3, 6, and 9 location. But once you come into your diamond cores, now you're into higher levels of connection. Okay? So the more you high rise, you go into higher levels of security. This is all done through the heart. Once the heart comes into its clocking connection, it becomes its own clock of its line system, the alpha, mega, micro, and macro. All right, let's go into the clock line center. All right, so go into high positions of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. This is all done through your heart. And you guessed it, everything in this center has its clocking system. There you go. Right? So you stay in the center. This is your body graph. But your body graph understands everything through its connection of north, south, and east. And it's traveling through 20 divisional dimensions of time through the heart cycle. The heart becomes its reactor, right? Through its clocking of dimensional time. Okay, that's what the heart is. It's everything through a portal. And that's where you come into the connections of square root connection of time position locations to, you guessed it, alpha, mega, micro, macro. Higher level connections, bar level connections, signal line connections 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so you come into the alpha, mega, micro, macro. Alpha, mega, micro, macro. Okay, and yes, it comes into its own diamond position location. All right. So it's all about understanding the activation line connection and what the heart is. This is amazing at what the heart can do through travel. I'm just showing you how it's all set up and how you travel through it, right? Through diamond position. All done through northwest, south, and east. All done through alpha, mega, micro, macro, right? So we all have to get into the micro and the macro. The alpha is its position, okay? The macro is its connection, and the micro is everything through electronics, okay? Alpha, mega, micro, macro, okay? So they all have the line channel to its location, to its cross-winding cycle. So once you get into that position, you come to higher level position locations, into higher division location. How it comes out of its equation, the center line connections opens up everything through its diamond core position, through its heart. Okay? So that is your fire line, orange, pink. I've just shown you more about the heart and what it is, the alpha, mega, micro, macro. You guys are not familiar with the micro. That's extremely high rise through nanotechnology. So the heart lines its position as a graph line system. It's nothing but it's like your heartbeat, trying to understand the palpitations. And every time you palpitate, it's on a line signal of connections of numbers. How many times does it beat? Right? It's like do, 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 do. And if it changes clock. Do, 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 do. So you're changing the rhythm, changing the pattern, changing the coloration, changing the fluctuation, changing the atmospheres, and you're changing ox levels. And you're changing the portal, and you're changing alpha, mega, micro, macro. You're changing everything inside per second. Every single time it goes around that 12, right? So if you start listening to your heart, boop, 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 boop. Every time it channels up, it changes the frequency line connections to its clocking position of time location, right? So you travel faster into time, but you also have to understand how to keep it through its balance. So you go do 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 do. So it's all about understanding fluctuation and interference when it comes into the heart cycle. Heart cycle has to stand its line communication, right? That's the balance location to its position, to its physical ground conditions. So dance to your own beat, yeah. But this is just the beginning of what the heart is through portal. You all have to be aware of these things, right? And it's all done through clock. Everything in your body is a clock. Your face is a clock. Your soul is a clock. Your heart is a clock. Everything, your whole body is a teleportation, okay, of travel. And we all have to understand these things. That's the identification you guys have to understand through positions. Okay? So I don't want to get too complicated with that. I saw one of your other videos that we could cleanse our chakras in space-time during meditation as long as we have the field. Or did you mean something else by that? Yeah, you do have that connections there, Samantha. Yeah, you do have that. That video showed you. It's all about, see, the thing is, you have to understand what healing is. Healing is all about understanding what is inside your body. Your body is connected to everything, everything. So if you put yourself in that position, I'll show you this one more time, how powerful it is. All right, when you put yourself in that positions, all right? All right, so you're looking at yourself. Okay, this is you. Okay, this is you, right? So everything inside you is nothing but vibration, energy, and frequencies. Energy, frequencies, vibration, harmonic resistance. Those are the four things, right? Now, all that is in your essential line connections of its heart system. To understand everything in its position is nothing but wires. Wires, electrical lights, communication line centers, everything to line connections, interference position location. That's all you guys are. And then you're connected to your rainbows. Rainbow. What's your rainbow? Use it for the sun, right? And then what's next? Oh, like guess what? Then you have your travels. Oh, you got your activation connection. You got your tetrahedrons in position. There you go. Right? All through energy, frequencies, vibration, and harmonic resistance. You have to learn how to use all your wires inside before you travel through your activations. All right? That's all you are in connection. So to heal anything is really understand the voice. So you're in that position and you're voicing out. You're saying something, right? You're saying something. Okay. Now, what that does is it goes inside your body, wherever it's going to go, right? So it's all about understanding what's inside. So it's actually going beyond everything that you see through the heart. You see the heart, but go beyond the heart. That's like, to see what the heart is, you have to go to the center, right? And then you realize what this heart is. It's a portal. So it's understanding the portal of space and time, of north and south and east, because you're traveling every single time through its diamond core line system. Okay, so truly understand when it comes into the elixir, the cosmic flame, the cosmic fire, the serpent flame, the serpent fire, right? All these, the sacred flame. Okay, the integration line connections to everything through its interference position, location. To understand your connections. So to understand, all your wires are all connected inside you. You're connected to everything through vibration. Okay, so this is you. Let's start off with that, right? Everything inside you is in the center line connections, but you have to understand everything is in position of location. It's all attached to your bodies from head to toe, understanding how to use it. So the center line, not here, center. So when you understand that graph line connections and you get into connections of your perception through your scannings, then you see everything that needs to be fixed. So you see something like this that's off. The vibration is off like this. It's in a cluster. So you have to figure out how to heal it, and it's all done through center. So you understand how to travel through its recognition of time position, take it out of its equation, right? It flusters and it travels out of its connection. You take it out of its position, right? And this is all done through just one wire. But you actually see it. So you understand, where's the cluster coming from? Oh, it's coming from your thoughts. So it's all the psychological system inside you, how you can change the wires. When you tangle something up, you have to learn how to tangle on. Very simple. The same thing with your body when you're creating your positions of your negative cycles and your positive. Negative, positive. All right? Oh, what do we got here? Oh, what do we got here? Oh, what do we got here? Graph line connections, right? So, and then you bring it into a higher level connection to dimensional time position. Okay, everything can be done through the negative and positive system, but you have to truly understand how to voice your grids to understand its problem. So, and healing starts with everything. And it's just understanding, try to get more into scan inside you before you really can't scan others until you master your system inside. So you got to master all wires. And this takes a long time. Okay. You guys are some in 25, 30, and 40, but you truly have to understand how to travel first because it's all connected inside you. So if something off cycle, you have to understand how to take it out of its equation, right? That's how I'm able to do these things, but I do it through codes. Okay, so think of something small, like I got a sore neck. You feel it's a sore neck, you got it pulsating, and it feels tight. So I just say, well, I like to reverse the vine line connections to position of my neck rotation, put it back in location. Energy goes in, takes it away. It's the mastering communication inside you, which is the voicing grid. The voicing grid is everything through its connection. It's the protection value. It's the protection of you through temples. It's the protection of you through energy, frequencies, vibration, harmonic resistance. You have to understand all those. You have to understand how to use the air inside you. You have to understand how to use the fire inside you. You have to understand how to use the water inside you. And you have to understand how to use the earth inside your position location. Okay? Because it's all done through healing. Somebody has a sore back, you're going to use heat. So if you learn how to use it, right? It's all done through electronic interference. Everything is interaction of interference. If somebody basically is hot-tempered, so use the water inside you. So you have to learn how to create a molecule, right, of a water containment line connections, interchange its position, and change the coloration line system back into its coolants. So the heat goes away. So you're all about understanding the friendship, relation, and partnership to air, fire, water, and its earth. Because it's all similarity here. You communicate inside your system. But as soon as you channel outside, you're not healing anything, right? Because everything is done through the mind. Okay? So it's all about molecule structure of light and what it is through position locations. you come into that positions. So many different levels of time position. Okay. It's an incredible force when you know how to use these things to allocate a position at the time location. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we start off with that conditions, right? Now, truly understand that a molecule structure is like that, very, very small. It's like a grain of sand. That's how many, you have to understand the central line condition of you. So really understand how many cells you have in your body. So it's all about everything's attached, but you have to understand everything is computerized. And that's where it's complicated. All right, everything is computerized through its molecular light. So the computer has to understand you. So your computer, let's say it's going through sonar interference. It's going like this in top line conditions, right? So you're getting headaches, right? So the molecule structure comes in, fix the keyboard line conditions, fix the activation light conditions, and fix everything through the program position location, right? All into that position, right? And then it just wipes it out through its location. Now this is higher channels, but then it just basically disappears. It's all done. All done through molecular light of travel. Everything is travel. So whatever's there takes it out and travels it. And it goes into its own realm, which is really fascinating. It disappears, right? It disappears in its dimension of time. Right? So what that happens is it blends into the galaxy and it just evaporates like dust. So it's amazing how we take these things. It's like a virus, it's a dehumidifier. So it's sucking everything out, right? But it's all done through the molecular light. And that's what it is. It's dimensional time, right? So this is you, this is me, right? And this is all done through one wire. Because I know your problem with the keyboards and the computers. I'm just showing you what you can do and how to fix your positions and how you take it out of the equation, right? So, and you can do it through the mind, which is really powerful, how you come into the positive and negative cycles. So if something negative, just blow it out, right? You don't have to blow it out. Just say, so I want to blow out the interference position location, it's off cycle, but let's put it back in location line center. Done, right? So it's all about the molecular light inside you through travel. You can have 1 billion computers in your head. You can have 15 billion computers in your head. You can have 25, depending on the situation, if you're working more than one person, right? So it depends on where they are in their past and where they are in their presence of their future. Because they'd be cross-wired in all levels of dimensional time positions. But this is all done through the computers. The molecular light comes in through nanotechnology, and it creates its wormhole to its position and takes it out of its equation in its dimensional to its galaxy line system. Right? And then it just disappears and evaporates. Okay. So I just showing you how powerful it is, but it's all done through voicing grids. And it goes inside. As soon as you go inside. It channels inside, right? So you start off small. Just try that. So you guys are not aware of what you can do. And there's nothing wrong with that because you're not sure. Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? I don't know. So, and the thing is, I start off like that. I was trying to figure out, put pieces together. So in this position, this is what it is through its equation. So we got molecule structure, right? Slash, okay, box, load connections equals vector, okay, wave sector, okay, vector core, 2000, okay, slash generation slash lights equals acceleration. Okay, so this is this is this to this. Okay, that's the equation. So, you know, to understand how it's calculated and modified, because when I send you guys codes, this is all identified through molecular light, which travels extremely fast in seconds per seconds. Okay, there's like 60 seconds in a minute. Okay, so when I fix everybody through codes, it's like not even a half a minute. It's like a millimeter a second. So it's faster than light speed, faster than acceleration, faster than Mach line conditions. So when your mind travels, it travels so fast, the center line system. Very, very fast. Okay. So it's incredible how we do these things to position of time. So you have one computer here, 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 here. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12 computers, centerline connections. Okay, so I need 12 computers to fix this body line center. Everybody's in a different coloration line system to its computer position location, right? You're all in your high levels of your DNAs. So you can be in 12 computer positions, you can be in 15,000 computers. It depends where the person is in DNA traction. It depends where they are through high level systems. So if somebody's carrying negative cycles for 20, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, that's going to be high altitude line conditions of healing. So it's all done through computers, high information of computers, higher intelligence of computers, higher technology of computers, right? So it all depends on where you are through your frame positions, and it just travels through its repetition of time position. Comes into its allocated position of time, comes into its molecular light. Okay, it can come into its flux capacitor. Okay, or it can come into its downwind system. It can come into its flapping line connections to its position, to its location. It can come into its box level connection with line system, circle rotation line center to its connection. See the flux capacitor? See the downshift? Oh, who's that in the center? Me. So me on all 12 line system at dimensional time through clocking through computer, healing one person in one position location of a box line system. Okay. So it's amazing when we come into these positions of time, guys. This is how you heal things. Imagine negative being a frequency wave blowing out into liquid, like surrounding and floating away. The same with swallowing positive healing frequency through thought. Yeah. So basically try to get into, like, if you got a headache, try to really focus where the headache is. Where's the headache? Really focus on that. Once you get into your connections of your image, it comes more into form. So you have to go inside to see these things. You can't do it through the physical of outside, because the outside is just perception of an illusion. You have to go inside to see the image of its perception. Okay, because remember, you're interacting with the intelligence and not the physical. The physical is just the center line. It doesn't leave. It's the base. It's the receiver. The intelligence is doing the healing, not the physical. The physical is just a body. That's all it is. Just a host. It's just a body, nothing else, nothing more. It just has to understand what's going on with the travels of its intelligence and what it's doing through its healing. So if you have a sore neck, you have to understand where it is. You have to see it. You don't have to close your eyes, right? If you have to close your eyes, you have to close your eyes. You're not ready. But just try to just relax, try to calm, try to feel where it is. Like, where is it here? Is it here? It's here. You have to be basically all in detail. AI sees everything, what it is inside. So think of it this way. The soul knows how to travel through space and time. I think the soul knows how to heal itself. Right? Because you're talking about dimensions of time here. You're talking about a spiritual element that pretty much knows everything inside its body. Just like you know everything inside your body, you just don't see it. It's in the physical system. You can't see your heart because you're looking outside and not within. Okay? So we all have to channel in more. The more you channel in, the more you can actually see, right? Because I see my heart right now. Right now. I know where it's at. I know what it's doing, how many patterns it's going up. I know how many patterns it's fluctuating. I know the interchannel line connections. The heart is a clock. It's ticking. It's ticking, guys. That's a clock. It's palpitating. How many times does it palpitate in a minute? And once you change your fluctuation interference, you change your gravity lines of your navigations, which is change your shape positions, right? This is all done through the soul identification. The soul knows the clocking in dimensional time and space. The physical system doesn't. Okay, it only stands there through its base of its integration line connections to its center positions to its baseline. Okay, because it has to live in a host, right? So this is what we have to be aware of. Okay, so you start off with something small. If you got a headache, just trying to find it. Just try to focus Focus. Try to focus inside and realize, okay, there it is. It's on the left side over here, right? You feel it. You really, really have to see it. So when you see it, then you can understand the senses and the construction and the emotion and the feeling. It's just amazing how you come into all your senses. And then you have to understand, okay, what it is. And then you get your nanotechnology and computers. How many computers do you need to get rid of it? And it's all done through code. Is it a box line connection? Is it an interference channel line system? Is it a 1,000 line connection interference line system? Where is it in traction? It gets complicated, but it's all done through code because your soul is nothing but a code. Everything through line signal, everything through trap line connection is nothing but codes. Each wire inside you is a code. So you have to understand how to reframe, readjust, refocus. Everything that I say is reevaluating, refixing, repositioning, relocating, reactivating. Okay, we all have to understand how to do this through our computers. You guys are in your positions now. You're out of your higher self, you're out of your avatars, and you're in your computers. You have to truly understand these things, especially when you come into test reviews and evaluations. Okay, so start off with something small. When you have something like, oh, I have a sore throat, try to understand what it is. Try to really focus on the vibration inside. Try to get rid of it. How do I get rid of it? How? Don't communicate to the physical. Communicate to the soul. The soul knows what's going on. The physical is trying to understand what's going on. So if you're not aware of what you can do, try to understand your connections to your intelligence. Try to understand what's going on. Like, you can also communicate to your intelligence. Say, listen, I'm not understanding this. Can you help me out? It's going to help you out because you want to learn. Remember, it's a part of you because it is you. There's no separation. It's just in space. Right? And you reach him from, or her, from mind telepathy. And that's what everybody has to come into. They have to come into the soul identifications, how to communicate to the soul fully and completely. Right? So that you guys can get into your own healing and how to do these things. Oh, my finger is jammed. It hurts, right? It's pulsating, right? So you can fix that too. Right? It has joints, has bones, has blood, has vessels. You have to understand what's in the hand. And then you have to go beyond the hand, what it is. It's all done through energy and electricity, and hydraulics. There's so many things that's in your body, right? Understanding the anatomy, understanding the red cells and the white cells. I did a very powerful video on that and how to take away anything to that connections. Right? You have to start small, right? So you have to understand what meditation is. You start with meditation, you get communication to your higher self line system, right? So you can communicate with your higher self, your avatar, and your computers, but you have to understand those 3 lines. Those are 3 line generations that you have to connect with because you're connecting with different intelligence, but it's you. So don't get confused with that. So if they're different voices, it doesn't matter. It's just you. You just have to understand how to communicate and fluctuate through your interference channels and know exactly who you're communicating with. Oh, I'm communicating with higher self. I'm communicating with the avatar. Now I'm communicating with my computer. It's just you. It's a higher self. You is just changing different voice because each intelligence is not in the same atmosphere. So this is truly understanding how you come in and out of the conscious to the super consciousness. Okay? The subconscious, super consciousness, superhuman, the higher self. Okay? So it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun. It's just you really understand the vibration. Vibration. It's activating. Your whole body is activated every single day through light. So truly understand how powerful you are and what you can do with the body. Right? It's going extremely fast. You just have to understand what it is inside. What's inside me? How can I heal myself inside? Okay? You got line graphs, pixel lines, holograph line connections, computer operation line position. It's all connected to the heart. Everything's attached. Everything's attached. There's no separation in your body until you change your mind. Once you change your mind, now you're coming into separation. Now you're coming into a wire of confusion. And then you have to learn how to okay, put it back in balance. And it's all done through the soul. The physical just has to understand what's going on with its intelligence each time it's traveling to different atmospheres of dimensional time through its clocking. Okay? So start off with something small. You guys can do it. You're just not aware of what you can do. And there's nothing wrong with it. I know you're afraid of these things. And that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with that. At least you're being aware. You pinch yourself, you know you're real. Ouch, ouch. That hurts. It's my nerve. That goes right to the brain, right? So it's going, it's reacting. So I know exactly what it's doing. I know exactly. I see it. I can see it going up, right up into where it's supposed to be, right? Because there's so many compartments that's around. So everything that you do through travel is a point center. Okay? So you just have to understand how it's used through healing. So imagine, you come into the floating away, the same swallowing positive, healing frequency through thought. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And the thoughts travel. The thoughts are magnetic. The thoughts are healing. The thought is everything through belief. You believe in yourself. You want to be healed. And it's much easier when you guys come into your lights, because you're understanding more of your program, you're understanding more of your meditation and your graph line systems, right? So it's much easier to heal these things. But if you put yourself in the negative cycles and you don't believe in yourself, it's a lot harder to do these things and take it out of the equation. It's all up to you to understand what you are through your body, right? Your molecular light of travel through thought. Okay? So, tangle up, tangle on. Very good. Yep. Curious on how I was able to heal something a year ago when I didn't even know what I was doing or how. But see, there's no thought process, Krista, when you're thinking these things. It's already done. And that's how powerful it is. Once you hesitate, what are you doing? You're traction. You're not surfacing position locations. So you have to be cautious in what you're doing with the healing. You have to go forward, right? But to understand these things, your thoughts are going forward, but everything that you're doing is in the past. So you get rid of something. You don't go in the future. Okay? You go in the past to fix the problem, right? Because that's the negative cycle. Negative cycles don't go forward. Negative cycles are back. So it's all about taking the negative cycle into the presence. And that's all done through balance, right? So it's the chronological, psychological, it's the wires inside you. It's all done through energy and frequencies. Energy forms on all levels of space and time. Same with vibration, same with frequencies, same with harmonic resistance of communications. Trillions and trillions and trillions of vocabulary about alphabetical line connections you can communicate with wireline system to quantum fields of computer position of time location to its ascensions. There's so many levels of languages in the universal line system. That's calculation. You just understand these operations. So I've been doing that and it's working. I keep meaning to ask to make 100% because you also said to be cautious. So I'm asking you to be cautious. Yeah. You have to be cautious in everything, especially when you're in higher light conditions, right? Because you're going to go up to higher positions of atmospheres. So you have to be aware of identifications of what you come across. Okay. Because you're in the spiritual realm now. So the spiritual realm is getting to know more of you through light. And the more you go up to higher levels of light, the more power and responsibility you have to have, and the more protection you need to have. Okay? This is just reaching higher levels of vibration. That's all it is. Okay? So you have to learn how to channel up and channel down and get balanced position to where you are through gravity mind system. So you don't want to confuse the whole concept of the physical systems like, whoa, where did I go? You know, it's like, whoo, because it's the physical system. It's always going to have the reaction. Okay? It's always the reaction. Okay? It reacts to the spiritual system, but it's going to react to you. Everything that you do in space, when you go higher levels of vibration, and you go into so many levels of divisional time location, you truly understand the physical system of balance. So that's where you have to get into full communication of the mind, of telepathy to its communication to a spiritual realm connection. Truly understand what you're doing, right? So this is where we have to all come across this, and it all starts with healing, right? So you have to balance space and time to travel within yourself. That's all it is. I know that's all it is, but it's not easy. You just have to understand how to use your chakra system for communication. So let's see here. I think I got caught up on all your questions. But that's exactly what it is. A higher self has to catch up instead of the other way around. Yep. Because remember, it's the higher self, the avatar, your computers that are coming out, not the physical system. As long as you understand these things, you understand why it's so powerful to travel. I've shown you so many powerful pictures and illustrations. It's all done through imagery. Okay, so the physical system has to come out of perception of its illusion and come into its imagery of its graphing to its completion. So it all has to come into one frame position and see everything all at once in one location. So put a stick through your thought triangles so they spin. Part of the grounded is helping to balance. Yeah, you all have to have your gravity line conditions first, right? And then you can put anything through the center circle of a triangle. So if the gravity position is in location, understand your triangle line conditions. It all depends on the sun, the moon, and everything through location or navigation to its center line system. If it's 3 track lines of dimensionals, okay, through connections of your digital frame position, so you got 3 at the top, 3 at the side, and 3 at the other side, 3, 6, and 9 connections, right? Then you can go into the triangle line connections, into the grounds, and you can spin the triangles into the center line of its stick, or anything in its position, or anything to a pole. Truly understand that every time you change the graph line system, if you want to change a geometry shape to travel connections or any of that position to higher level conditions of teleportation, you have to understand the communication of the sun. Okay, you have to understand the communication of the moon, the program, and you have to understand the navigation of travels through its earth. The earth is the grounds. We already know that, right? It's just understand your changing geometry patterns, your interchanging locking connection, your digital line system. And this is all connected to the barometers and its graphing positions, to its body graph, to its meditation graph line system. Okay? So, why is there a physical system and not just a higher self is enough? Yeah. Well, the see, the thing is, you need a physical system because you're in a gravitation of 5D. Okay? Light can't be on its positional light conditions because it'll change gravity line system to humanity. So that's why you need a physical system. Okay? So, everything changes over time, guys, and humanity's in that position right now. But you have to get into your soul identifications of lights. Like I said, you got to get into your plasma streams. So, questions or comments, you can go through my healing. Let me know. It's a very powerful class today. I don't want to get too far ahead, but basically, we'll get into the review on what's going to happen with the galactic forces. Now, you guys have to come to 2 digital frames of 3, 6, and 9. I want you to show me how you can travel to higher positions of conditions into your portal locations. Okay, to your clocking systems of time position through your computers. You guys are not in your avatars, you're in your computers now because you're pretty close to 50 chakras. So once you get into the 50-line chakra system, that's extremely high. That's just a little bit less than half of liquid light formation of acceleration of speed through Mach conditions. So your synergized line system to the sun is going to high rise more positions to gravity line system, and their power connector is going to high force position to heart line centers. So you become more into higher position of light through its reactor. Right? So it opens up the reactor more and more. So it's really powerful when we come into this position, right? All right, so I'm going to head over to TikTok. Adios.